Oh yeah, alright. Randos2Hereos, Solo Edition. We've got our 4 randos here, our 4 peasants. We've got Bingledorf, the halfling shoe shiner. Use this token, I don't know how well you can see that. For him, these guys are all peasants and they're broke, so they've got nothing to lose, and they've decided they're gonna go out in search of fame and fortune, dungeon delving, exploring, killing monsters and bringing back loot. And the background to the land is, we assume that the land is filled with buried relics, ruins from ancient times, from a golden age of human society, but they're out. But they currently live in a very secluded town, a self-sufficient town, probably of decent size, a few thousand people. And but these guys are broke, so they're gonna go try and unearth some treasure, and they got nothing to lose because they're down and out. So this guy is Richter the dwarf. He's a shepherd. Here's a token we'll use for him. That guy looks a little armored and ferocious. That's probably not a good indication of Richter at this moment, but he'll learn, I'm sure, and progress. This guy here is Herbert, the human milliner. And milliners, I believe, if I understand it correctly, they created hats. They made hats, fancy hats. So this guy, I liked his hat. So this is Herbert. And this is Davis. This is a shady looking guy here. I chose him. He probably fits. Davis was a moneylender, so he's basically a banker. I don't know, this shady character just seems to fit for me. And he's got high dexterity, but he's a real loser otherwise. 8 strength, 9 IQ, 8 health. Let's see the stats here. Okay, so we'll just put these guys aside here. And here is our map. So, these guys live in the sleepy, quiet town of Hollowdale. Yeah, Hollowdale, that's it. I just made that up on the spot. I'll probably regret that later. And let's generate randomly. What kind of terrain surrounds the peaceful town of Hollowdale? Got a couple D12s here. Okay, they live near swamps. That's unfortunate. Live in a swamp. No problem. Good. Okay. And it is a grassy swamp. So it's just kind of, they live in a bog. In the boglands. So I'll just put this kind of like this. That's kind of grassy. So maybe their main resource is maybe peat bogs or something like that. Or maybe it's an iron bog. That was a thing, I guess, back in the Middle Ages. Yeah, so this is where they live, and this is a 10-kilometer hex. And they typically just live around town and nobody leaves the 10-kilometer hex. It is mostly safe. They do get the odd incursion of monsters. But the crown, the duke of the town, has put up a bounty offering money. Let's see, so we've got some rewards here that I always use. So the characters will get, so this is GURPS, so they'll get character points instead of experience points. For exploring 5 hexes, they'll get a character point, each of them. For clearing a hex, that's hunting down, that's combing the hex in search of tracks and any lairs, any monster lairs, and if they can clear those lairs, then there can be up to 3 monster lairs per hex. It's random. And if they clear a hex, they get 2 experience points if they kill monsters, blah blah blah. For every monster head they bring back, the crown is willing to pay the experience points of the monster in silver pieces. So it's a goblin. So I use the Beckme rules cyclopedia. Well, right now I'm using Dark Dungeons. For monsters, you can convert those monsters. They're so simple on the fly. I convert them on the fly into GURPS, but then I obviously am left with an experience point value for the monsters. So I just times that by I take the experience points and convert that to amount of silver for each head. So a goblin, I think, is 5 experience, so they get 5 silver per head they bring back. If they return historical artifacts, so if I ever roll, so I roll the random treasure tables for killed monsters, and especially in lairs, you get special treasure. And if that's like any artifact, painting, something like that, whatever the value of the item is, the Duke will pay for that, because that's of historical. The idea is that it's of historical importance to this town. So they're learning about their local history that's been long overtaken by the wilderness, and so on. You can download these rules if you join the membership. I'll have links to that in the description. So our friends here living in Hollowdale, they decide to head out. So we're gonna roll randomly and see where they go. 1, 2, 3. They're gonna go this way. Let's label these. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so we head off this way. Let's do some random terrain. So it looks like I've come into some hills and some grassy hills, some grasslands. That's kind of cool. Just draw that in there. I'm right here. Okay, so day 1. They head southeast to that is C6, and find grassy hills. This makes for a great log to review the game afterwards. Okay, so then they traveled. It costs 2 movement points for that. They have 5. The slowest person in the group is a move of 5. So we roll 1d8, looking for a 1 for point of interest. No point of interest that they discover, and no random encounter today. Well, so far. Every time we move into hex, we roll for those things. So we've still got 3 movement points left. We can get a reward from the crown if we map out the area around town. So let's say we do that. So how about we move? Let's move just straight west, and that's going to be to F6. Okay. Now we're coming to the grassy hills, and we find ourselves in plains. Down to the plains. Interesting. Oh, that's an 8. Sorry, no. We find more hills. And 3. Light forest. Some light forests cover these hills. Good. Forested hills. And that will cost 3 movement points. So that is the end of the day. They cannot go any further in one day. Check for random encounter. Oh, and they have one. And I will also roll before I do an encounter. Point of interest? Nothing. So these guys encounter something. Okay. Go to our random encounter charts. The good old Beckme random encounter charts. Alright. It's a wood encounter, woodland encounter. They encounter humanoids. You know what those are. Goblins, orcs, bandits, giants, ogres. Ah, we encounter some elves. Okay. Encounter some elves, that's interesting. Says that there's 1d4 of them. They encounter one elf. And let's roll randomly to see what current situation disposition will be. 15. That's something interesting, actually. He actually is seeking allies. Seeking info or allies. Okay, that's interesting. Let's say that his tribe is in trouble, and the characters come across this guy. Let's roll perception between the two. This is the good guys. I rolled a 12. It's my best perception. 14, 16. Oh, Richter there. My shepherd has a 16 perception, so it's a 12. He made it by 4, and the elf, he rolled a 15. So he fails. He fails to see our friends, our party. But our party, seeing a single elf traveling alone, they're not as afraid, so they confront him, step out, talk to him, and we'll say that they can both speak common to each other, and he impresses upon them the need for them to help him in possibly finding, let's see, maybe he needs help against other monsters. I bet he knows. How about he knows a lair? There's a lair in this hex. Well, let's see. Let's see which hex. In fact, roll a d8. 7 and 8. It's in this hex. Yep. Okay. There's a lair in this hex that he needs help clearing because it is endangering his tribe. And he was sent to. Perhaps he was on his way to Hollowdale, asking for help. Maybe he'll continue on, in fact, and talk to the authorities. Either way, looks like the party has made something of a friend. We'll call him Moonglint. And he gives info. He asks for help and gives info of a lair in F6 of, let's find out what kind of monster we're dealing with. Okay. That is another humanoid creature. We're having trouble with humanoids. Okay, and that is a hill giants. Dang. Hill giant trouble. The worst kind. Let's see how many there are. We'll roll randomly for that too. So it is a lair group, so it's 1d4. That's poor. Oh, okay. 1. Okay. 1 is 1 hill giant. He's a loner. Okay, at least it's not 4. Wow. Okay. That's good to know. Wow. It'll be a while before we clear that hex, I'm thinking. Let's just take a look at the stats of something like this. So these guys would get the information. They'd get a description of this monster. And Moonglint says it's about 8 hit dice. It's 8 hit dice in hit points, and it has an armor class of 4. So in GURPS terms, that would be give him a DR of 2 just from his hide, and work out the other defenses later. So, okay, our friends are not going to confront that guy. So they're going to, well, it's the end of the day when they have this encounter anyway. So they make camp and hope that they don't have a night encounter, especially with a hill giant. I will give 1 character point for that encounter. No, they didn't succeed at anything. Actually, they didn't even have to make a diplomacy roll since he was searching for assistance. So no, nothing gained there. Okay, night encounter check 5. No night encounters. Okay, well that was a good day 1. Let's go to day 2. Where do these guys want to go? They'll probably they'll just get out of this hex. They're gonna go, let's go northwest, and we'll see what the terrain says we're into this time. 5, so that's more hills. What is this? E5. Hex E5, hills and light forest. It goes, yeah, that's more forest and hills. Very nice. That's a nice countryside, I guess. Strange that they put their town in the valley, in the bog, but I'm sure it's on the edge of the bog. They're probably on the side of nice rolling grass hills. Okay, so we're into this hex. Check for random encounter. 2, nothing. And we will check for point of interest, ruins or otherwise. Nothing. Okay, well so far we're just into the countryside. No ruins, no dungeons, no caves, no lairs. Well, we did learn about a lair, didn't we? Okay, so that would cost us 3 movement points. We have 2 left for the day. Okay, on a whim, I'm going to roll also to just see if we have come across any water. Water, so that is no rivers or anything like that. Okay, so let's continue just mapping territory around Hollowdale. So we'll go, I guess, northeast from there into F4. Hex F4. Let's see what kind of terrain we discover. It's up this way. So we're up to between 10 and 20 kilometers away from town now. To the north, to the northeast. We rolled a 10 on. Okay, so that's. So we descend into some plains. It looks like plains. What kind of vegetation is there? Barren. Wow. Barren. That's not just grassy. That's just rocky. Wow. Okay. That's an interesting land feature. Just a barren plains. Okay. Well, that takes 2 movement points, so they can get to the edge of that before day falls. Let's see if before night falls. Sorry. No random encounter. And point of interest, none. Okay. Night. We make camp. Night encounter is, I rolled a 6. That was alright. No night encounter. Okay, so 2 days and we've already more than half mapped out the territory around. And no brutal encounters with monsters. I'd say we're pretty fortunate here. This is good. Okay, so day 3. We have rations for 7 days. I always just give that to the characters for free. They can scrounge that up from their pantries or their families or whatever. Don't need to bother accounting for that. Okay, so G. We go straight east to G4. 4. G4. Bingo. We roll the D12s. Go from plains. So we go back into hills. I guess that makes sense. There's hills all around these parts. We go from barren to grassland. So back into some grassy hills. And that'll cost us 2 movement points. Once again, we'll check for... where's my... yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll check for random encounter and point of interest. Neither. Wow, it's just been a quiet stroll. Very fortunate for these guys, though. Not complaining. Okay, we go south, and then we go, yeah, southeast to G5. G5. And this completes the circuit around town. This is going to be good. Everybody will get a character point for this. And over the hills into swamp. I think I understand the lay of the land here now, yes. Swamp flows to the east, perhaps. 10 from a grassy gives us a barren swamp, yeah. Okay, so we were in a nice grassy, boggy, at the edge of a boggy swamp. Here it's just a wasteland. Nothing. Yeah, that slows down our movement considerably. So we get 3 movement points in of 4. So we have to camp in the bog, in the swamp, overnight. Okay, we'll roll for day encounter and point of interest, nothing. And then night encounter, nothing. Wow, dice are being generous. Okay. This is slow moving though. Day 4. They gotta get out of here. We'll say that Hollowdale is on the southern side of this swampy hex. So they're gonna head... well, they gotta traverse the swamp either way, so they'll just head maybe straight home and resupply, because it's been 4 days. They're not gonna want to head out too far. They won't get far, in fact. We're gonna head home. So we're going straight west. And okay, so we start the day in this hex, so we have to roll random encounter there. Nothing. Okay, west to F5 to Hollowdale. To home. And I don't need to I rolled a random encounter there. We don't have to roll random encounter when we get into our home hex. It is cleared. It is assumed to be more or less cleared. Okay, to home. And we stay home for, home for, let's say, just 2 days. They just rest up. Nobody needs to heal anything, so that's good. And we kind of made a friend, Moonglint, from the elves. Oh, I was hoping to... okay, yeah, let's find out where Moonglint's tribe is. 5, so that would be... so we found him here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's put that on the map. Moonglint told them of a small tribe, small settlement right here, and I will write on the back. What is this? This is an E6. E6. Moonglint's a tribe. We'll just say of elves. Settlement size Why don't we roll on the settlement size? Got a handy chart for this. 9. So that is the smallest size of town. So that is a thorp. A thorp of elves. So that's fewer than 21. 21 elves or so live there. 20 elves. That's good to know. That's interesting. So that's a potential trading partner. Okay, so let's review the rewards. So for exploring 5 hexes, exploring 5 new hexes, we get a character point. So that we explored 6. So there's 1 character point. We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got the 1 CP on day 3. And I think there's something to do here with find trade partners. Okay, we get 2 character points for that. Although, yeah, we didn't actually visit them. We have to actually go to the town, and with the Duke's declaration or seal, we have to get a good reaction out of the leaders there before we can actually call them a trade partner and collect on the character points. Well, maybe we should try that next. And then we get extra character points and money from the crown if we actually clear a path to a trade partner. We could clear a path around that hill giant lair. Wow, yeah. I'm gonna put an X. Well, we don't put an X there, but that's where the hill giant lair is. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, we could go around, clear a path to get the character points. But, who knows what we'll find there once we actually start tracking and searching out. Okay, anyways, so that was a successful adventure, I'd say. Nobody got attacked, we didn't even fight, and we got a character point. 1 character point for these losers goes a long way. I can put a point into their weapons. I can put a character point to buy a new skill. They still have no money, so they can't really get a weapon. Although, this guy with the Garrett, Bingledorf, the halfling shoe shiner, his only weapon is a shoe shining rag, which he uses as a Garrett. He's pretty strong, so he can do some damage with that, but and he's fast. Getting up on people's backs, maybe. Maybe I should buy him stealth for 1 point. Alright, these guys each have 1 character point. I'm not going to bother spending them in anything, maybe just yet. This guy with the Garrett. Actually, maybe I'll give him maybe a spear. Just a sharpened stick, so it just does thrust damage instead of the usual spear damage of thrust +2. There's no head on this spear, it's just a pointy stick. So I will give him spear for 1 point. Okay, so that'll give him a 10 in that. Not too bad. So he has accumulated 1, he's got 0 left. These guys, I'll just won't improve them yet. We'll see what we come up against. If we can win a battle or something and get maybe scavenge loot, some weapons or something. It would be nice to have the character points to sink into that so I can actually use it. Or if I get money, I can buy whatever I want. Whatever I can afford is what I'll get the skills for. Okay, these guys spend a day or two showing their map to the Duke, telling him what they've found out, especially the hill giant lair, and then they prepare to set out once again. All right. It's the end of adventure. Adventure 1, Day 1. What do these guys want to do? So, I'm not thinking that they're real keen on trying to get into any dungeons or caves and exploring just yet. Those tend to be a little more deadly, I think. I don't know, maybe not. Depends on the random monsters rolled, obviously. But let's go to this hex here. I think we're gonna head west. We're gonna head west, and we're gonna start tracking there. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do some tracking. Oh yeah, I wanted to give somebody tracking skill. That is an IQ average, I do believe, and yes, it's perception based. So that would make the dwarf the best tracker with his perception 16. So that's cool. That's great because he's a shepherd. It makes sense. The dice tend to make sense randomly, oddly enough. So he's got tracking, we'll say. He put his 1 character point into it to really kind of finalize it. He's like, yeah, I can track. Let's do this. So yeah, so they head out to Hex E5, and that takes 3 movement points. We'll check for point of interest and wandering monster. Oh, they do find a point of interest this time. I always roll unless there's a point of interest already in the hex. If you pass through it again, you'll get another chance at spotting it. The idea of the world, the setting here is that you can't hardly go 10 kilometers without finding a ruin or something from the civilization before. The idea is that it was a densely populated civilization lived here centuries ago, would have since declined and disappeared, and these are dark ages, and these guys have just been surviving for generations. Okay, so we'll roll on the random point of interest table. We got an 8, so that's interesting. They find a tomb. Oof. That's interesting. Okay. And I'll make a note of that on the back. E5. Countryside is starting to come alive with details now. Now, tomb. Jeez. What do these guys want to do with that? Let's roll randomly. 3 or under. They want to investigate the tomb and stop tracking. No, 6. So they decide they're just gonna continue on with their mission. They're gonna, now that they're in this hex, they're gonna wander up and down all over the territory, tracking whatever footprints they can find. So here we go. We've got a tracking forest. It's got a 15 minus 3 for the forest. Here we go. He needs a 12 or less. So that's a successful track. Okay, they pick up the trail of something. Let's see what it is. Hope it's not too much for them to handle. Let's hope it's not hill giant tracks. I already know he's there. What are we in? We're in Forested Hills. Okay. 6. That's a humanoid. They've got humanoid tracks. That's always bad news. Oh, okay. They find elf tracks. That's fun. Find elves again. Okay. We'll just say it's probably tracks that lead to here. There wouldn't be any more elf tribes in such a tight vicinity, we'll say. So, okay, we'll say that they that will take an additional 3 movement points as well to spend to successfully track. So I'll write that down. Track, and that's 3. Oh yeah, they only have 5 for the day. Okay, 2 of 3. They spend the day wandering. Wandering monster, no. And then night encounter. I already rolled the first wandering monster, didn't I? Okay, all is well. They spend the night, they camp out. Okay, that's, there can be up to 3 monsters, lairs, in each hex. That's 1 down. Let's see if there is another one. There's a 66% chance there is. No, 72. They have successfully cleared, well, assuming he makes he has to make another tracking check, so they spend the day wandering around, well, almost. Day 2. Tracking again. They lose 1 point to make up for the, to finish tracking the day before. And then they spend another, so 1 plus another 3, so they spend 4. Needs a successful roll. Yeah, he's a good tracker. So that's a 12. He just barely made it, actually. Needed a 12 or less. And I re-rolled to see what the chance was of there being more tracks. And it seems that there are no more monsters. Wow, we're super lucky. I've gone through this scenario, played this out 3-4 times, and I've never had a hex cleared before even encountering at least 1 combat and a death, a character death. This is usually where your luck runs out. Things are going to turn bad soon, but that's okay. Hex cleared. So now that this is cleared, we'll draw a green border around the hex on the map to signify it as cleared. And that would be the end. Actually, maybe we'll start. We do have 1 more movement point. Let's go to, let's head south. South to hex E6. So we'll just get into that hex and then have to make camp. But at least we will know what the terrain is there, and we can draw it on the map. So we're coming out of the hills. So that makes us... oh, we hit the plains. Side bumper. 11 plains. 6 forested plains. Nice. Forested plains. And 1 of 3 movement points to move across that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. The elves would live in a forested area. And it's flat land, so. Okay. Just 1 tree, because it's not a dense forest. Wow. Okay, so we'll roll point of interest and no point of interest or encounter, and then we make camp. No night encounter. Okay, what do we want to do? We wake up on day 3. And I think they're going to start, we've been so fortunate, let's start tracking in this hex and try and clear this hex. Now there's an Elven community here already, so that takes away 1 of the possible 3 monster lairs. So let's start tracking. We got a -3 this time, and it's a critical success. So with a critical success, I'll just hand wave it that we use half the movement while tracking today. So he did so well in his tracking roll. And, okay, and we'll see if there actually is any monsters. Purple high again. 6. Yes, there absolutely is. 66% chance of another monster. Looks like Richter the Dwarven Shepherd picks up a trail. Tracks of oops, wrong table. Humanoids again. Wow. Okay. 2. He picks up the track of elves. What are the chances? Chances of rolling elf there is 1 in 12. And when I rolled it before, it was 2 in 12. That's making an interesting story. So we pick up more tracks. All we can find is tracks of elves, which makes sense. There's a community of them here. They probably roam the area pretty frequently, hunting and all that. So, okay. So I'll just spend the day tracking. Actually, no, it only takes 3 movement points to do 1 pass of tracking. And they find something, but it's the elves, so whatever, that uses up another one of potential 3 lair chances. So before the day's over, they'll start tracking again. They won't be able to finish, but they're going to use the remaining 2 movement points. They'll have to do 1 more movement point worth of tracking in the morning. But let's see if there is another, sorry, first of all, that doesn't count. I have to roll my tracking skill. And that's, okay, we fail to find tracks today. So we spend the second half of the day combing the wilderness, looking for tracks. We can't seem to pick up anything. Too many elf tracks everywhere. 5, there's no wandering monster encounters. And then we make camp. Night encounter? Nothing. Holy smokes, we're doing great on the night encounters. Those are always bad because if you want to recover your fatigue points, you have to sleep with your armor off. Not that these guys, I'm forgetting. These are rando peasants, 0 level, so they have no armor. Day 4. Tracking. We need to use 1 more point just to finish the track that we failed, and we'll try tracking again. That's a 12. He hit it. He needed a 13 or less. Let's see if there are any more layers remaining. So this is a 33 or less. Green, purple high. No, either way. There are no more. Hex cleared. Amazing. All right. Can't believe our good fortune. And that, oops. Write that again as we spent another 3 movement points tracking. So we're now up to 4. 4 used for the day. Hex cleared. Wow. And what is that? That is Hex E6. E6 is cleared, and we cleared for E5. Great. So let's just mark that on the map. Well, that's amazing. So that's good for some serious character points on the chart here. We'll figure that out once we get back to town. If we get back to town. Okay. So since we know that there's a lair in this hex of a hill giant, if I was to roll a random encounter there, I think there would have to be a, what would you say, a 1 in 3 chance that it's a hill giant. Just using GM fiat there. I'm just making that up on the spot. We'll say that. he keeps a pretty probably close eye on his territory. So anyways, we're gonna go back to town. It's day 4. We're gonna try and go back to town. We're not gonna make contact with the elves yet. We'll try and get a seal or something from a message from the Baron before we come back here. But now, traversing these cleared hexes, we roll a 1d12. If we roll a 1 on a d12, we get a wandering monster. So no big deal. So yeah, we'll head home. Good chance of not being accosted. Okay, we're heading northeast to E5. Random monster. Oh, I roll a 1. I roll a 1 on a 12. Okay. I knew my luck was going to run out sooner or later. This is funny. Okay. What are we in? So, we're in the plains. Yeah, we didn't even leave the hex yet. And we run into... Oh, golly. When your luck runs out, it really runs out. Okay, a dragon. A dragon is encountered. So that's not necessarily the end of us yet. I just have to go roll on the dragon subtype table, which isn't good anyway you look at it, but it might not necessarily be a dragon. Yes, it is. It's a stinking red dragon. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's a high chance that it's flying over, especially when it's a red dragon. Counter a red dragon. Okay, we'll say we will roll yeah, it's we'll have to roll another 1 in 12 because it's cleared hex. Yeah, if we roll another 1, the thing is on the ground and then we go into encounter mode. 7. Yeah, okay. So when it's flyers, I typically there's more than a 50% chance that they're, well, when it's a dragon especially. But, yeah, at least 50% chance that they're on the move, flying. I could also consult the table just to see, make sure they're not hostile and actively searching and scanning. So what we got here? 8 and 6. 14. Yeah. Okay. So no hostile intent to the dragon currently, and it. Whew, let's put fly over. That would give these guys a bit of a fright. Maybe they're thinking about. They'd definitely be ducking and hiding. So maybe I'll put a point into stealth for these guys when they get back to town. Seems like it'd be a good idea. After that scare, they would be definitely thinking about it. Okay, now we get into the next hex. Roll for random encounter there. It's a d12 since it's cleared. 12, nothing. Okay, so that was into E5. And that will be used to 3. Day 6. They want to move straight east, and then they can to home. They have to use 1 point to get out of this hex. So that'll still. Oh, sorry. D12 for encounter, random encounter, nothing. And they arrive at home. I'm just gonna make the home hex cleared. Mark it as cleared, that is, since it is already effectively a safe haven. Okay, and home, and that's the end of the adventure.